Good morning everybody and welcome to Surrey Chapel's online Harvest Messy Church. Can you believe it's nearly autumn and October already? That's why we're thinking about harvest. We're so excited to be doing Messy Church online with you today, and we hope you have a great time doing some crafts, doing some singing, doing some actions and listening to a talk too. My name is Annie, and in a little bit one of our pastors, Gary, is going to be coming and talking to us too. But first we're going to sing a great song. It might be a new one to you. It's called If God Made the Sun. And if you watch the video carefully, in the bottom corner, I'm going to be doing some actions which you can follow along with too. Here we go.
And set the stars ablaze, lit up the heavens to declare his praise. If God built the mountains and he filled the sea, God must be great, great enough for me to fully trust him. When the going gets tough, yeah, we can trust him. God is able enough to keep us standing, whatever may come our way. Our God's unfailing, from the first to the last, he's never changing. Future, present and past, our God's amazing, and we can put our trust in him. If God freed his people from the Pharaoh, battle for Joshua down in Jericho, if God rescued Daniel from the lion's den, God must be great, really great, so then we ought to trust him. When the going gets tough, yeah, we can trust him. God is able enough to keep us standing, whatever may come our way. Our God's unfailing, from the first to the last, he's never changing. Future, present and past, our God's amazing, and we can put our trust in him. God showed his love when Jesus died for me. Dealt with my sin, I got his guarantee. If God proved it all when Jesus rose again, God must be great, really great, so then be sure to trust him. When the going gets tough, yeah, we can trust him. God is able enough to keep us standing, whatever may come our way. Our God's unfailing, from the first to the last, he's never changing. Future, present and past, our God's amazing, and we can put our trust in him. Yeah, we can trust him. When the going gets tough, yeah, we can trust him. God is able enough to keep us standing, whatever may come our way. Trust in him.
Well, that was a great song, wasn't it? I loved joining in doing the actions. I hope you had fun perhaps learning that song the first time. Well, now Gary is going to come and talk to us, and after that we're going to sing another song.
Well, it's great to have you join us here at Messy Church online at our Harvest Hullabaloo. Now I wonder, have you ever been given another chance at something? Perhaps you were playing a game at a friend's birthday party. It was a game of musical chairs, and yet you happened to be the last one to sit down when the music stopped. And yet the person leading the game, they gave you another chance. They let you have a go the next round, even though you should have been out, strictly speaking. Has that ever happened to you? Or perhaps you were doing a maths exam at school and you wrote down the wrong answer, even though you knew what the right answer was. You just happened to rush, even though you'd shown all of your calculations the teacher looked at it and they could see that you knew what you were doing, and so they gave it a tick instead of a cross. Or perhaps as a grown-up you were driving on down the road thinking about something else, and suddenly you heard those sirens. Woo, 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 woo. And the policemen, they pulled you over and they gave you a telling off. They told you were going too fast for the speed of the road, and yet they didn't give you a speeding ticket. It's always nice to be given another chance, isn't it? Well, that's exactly what happens in today's Bible story, which is a story that Jesus told about a fig tree that was growing in a vineyard. As Jesus said, a man had a fig tree that was growing in his vineyard, and he went to look for fruit on it, but he did not find any. Now, I wonder whether you've ever seen a fig tree. Well, if you haven't, then we've got one growing right outside the front doors of our church, and you might want to take a look next time you're there. And would you believe it, it's also growing right next to a vine, just like in this story, where one day the vineyard owner, he goes to look for some fruit on this particular tree. Because that's exactly what you'd expect, isn't it? If you plant a fruit tree, then you expect it to produce some fruit. For instance, if you plant an apple tree, then you'd expect it to grow some nice, juicy apples, wouldn't you? Or if you planted a banana tree, you'd expect it to grow some nice, yellow, ripe bananas, wouldn't you? Well, this guy, he had planted a fig tree, and so he expected it to produce some figs. I'm sure that he'd already been flicking through his cookbook at home, thinking of all the delicious things that he could have made with those figs. Things like fig pie, fig cake, fig pizza, fig pudding, figs with meat, figs with cheese, fig salad, fig rolls, figs in blankets. Oh no, that's something completely different, isn't it? But I'm sure he had plenty of fig ideas. In fact, I reckon he was just figuring out what he was going to do when he reached the tree, looked up, but instead of seeing figs, all he could see was leaves, leaves, and even more leaves. What a complete and utter disappointment that must have been. All of his fig ideas had come to absolutely nothing. And what's more, this wasn't the first time. Now, as we read on, we see that the tree hadn't actually produced any fruit for more than 3 years. For 3 years now, I have been coming to look for fruit on this fig tree, the owner said to the garden, but I haven't found any. Wow! No figs on your fig tree after 3 long years. I wonder, what would you do in that situation? Well, I'll tell you what the owner did. He said to the gardener, cut it down. Why should it use up any of this soil? Which is pretty reasonable, I suppose, when you think about it. After all, it was his vineyard. It was his tree. He'd given it a chance. He'd allowed it to grow for 3 whole years, and yet it wasn't producing any fruits. Cut it down, the owner said, and grow something else in its place, something that's going to be useful. But before he could saw it down, the gardener stepped in. Whoa! Wait a minute. Sir, leave it alone for 1 more year, and I'll dig around it and fertilise it. If it bears fruit next year, then fine. If not, then cut it down, he said. And that's exactly what happened. The fig tree was given another chance, but this time it had the help of the gardener, who dug around it and put some smelly manure on it to help it bear fruit. So what did Jesus mean? You see, Jesus, he often told these kind of stories, didn't he? They're called parables, but they always had a deeper meaning to them. The objects and the people in them always represented something or someone in real life. So what did they represent in this particular story? Well, the vineyard owner is in fact God. The gardener is Jesus. And guess who the fig tree represents? Well, that represents people like you and me. You see, what this story is really telling us is that God has made us. He made you and I. He created us. We are His. And He has made us for a purpose, that we might be fruitful in our lives, so that we might reflect what our Father in heaven is really like, so that we might love God first and foremost, and that we might love those around us too. That we might love that rather irritating boy in our class who's always doing things to wind us up. That we might be patient with our little sister who pulls out that crayon and draws on our favourite book. How annoying. But God, He wants us to be increasingly fruitful, to produce that fruit that we read about in the Bible, that fruit of love and joy and peace and patience and self-control. And yet, as this story tells us, we can't do this kind of stuff on our own. It's really hard, isn't it, to love those people that are really annoying. So instead, we need Jesus. We need Jesus, the gardener, to help us. First of all, we need Him to step into our lives and to save us from being cut down. And we can do that simply by asking Jesus to forgive us for all of our past fruitlessness and to help us as we continue on in our lives. And it's when we allow Jesus to work in our lives, to dig over that soil and to add in all of those nutrients and good things, that we are enabled to bear good fruits and live a life that pleases Him, the kind of life that He has created us for. You see, the good news, the fantastic news, the greatest news that is found in the Bible is that through Jesus, God has given us another chance. A chance to be saved, a chance to get to know Him and to begin to live for Him. But first of all, we need to accept that. And we need to trust in Him. Well, we're now going to pray together. And then you're going to have some time to do some wonderful harvest crafts. So let's pray, shall we? Lord, we do thank You that You created us and made us to be fruitful, to display what You are like to others, that they might also come to know You. Lord, thank You that You give us a chance to be saved so that You can work in our lives and produce this kind of fruit that pleases You. Lord, may we allow You to do that, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Are you ready to sing Creator God? One of my favourite lines in this song is, God painted the stripes on every bee. He created every creature and took care over every creature. So let's sing this song together and remember everything that God has made and how great a creator He is. Let's sing together.
You pop the freckles on my face, and all the fish that swim and all the birds that fly were made from your incredible imagination. Creator God, we're singing to the Creator God of all the world. Creator God, we celebrate You. We celebrate You. You painted stripes on every bee, and all the grass that grows and all the leaves that fall, part of Your amazing plans for this creation. Creator God, we're singing to the Creator God of all the world. Creator God, we celebrate You. We celebrate You. we're singing to the Creator God of all the world. Creator God, we celebrate you. Creator God, we're singing to the Creator God of all the world. Creator God, we celebrate you. Creator God, we're singing to the Creator God of all the world. Creator God, we celebrate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you.
Next up, we have some brilliant craft videos for you that are going to talk through really clearly exactly what you have to do for each of our crafts, one of which you might have received in the post to your houses. And some of these crafts might even involve getting outside and finding some of the things you need yourselves in your gardens or around your houses, because they're all harvesty and garden themed. So first, I'm going to talk about each of the crafts, explain what each one is, and you can skip to the craft that you would like to have a go at. But also, we would love to see any of the crafts that you've been working on at home. We would love to see pictures of what you've created. So perhaps after you've made any of your crafts, you could send them to me either at this email address or to our Facebook page. We would love to see what you have created from Messy Church. So enjoy doing these crafts. So our first craft, explained by Christina, is these very cool looking leaf men with googly eyes. The next one is a leaf bracelet, an accessory you can wear using things you find in your garden. We then have a leaf decoration and a thankfulness tree where you can write things that you're grateful to God for. And then a vegetable planter, which you can put little vegetables inside, as you can see in the picture. And then Helen's going to describe how to create a decorative bird feeder, you can see in number 6, and then a flower picture using some food you might have around your house. And lastly is our special craft, which you might have received in the post, which is making a cress plant and a scarecrow, but you can make that even if you didn't receive it in the post. So you can choose which craft you want to make. You might want to make all of them. Have a great time.
Here is how to make some nature friends. The first thing you need to do is to find yourself a couple of nice big leaves, maybe some little twigs, and you're also going to need some goggly eyes. And these ones are plasticky ones, but you could also make your own out of white and black pieces of paper. And you'll also need a glue stick. And to make our funny little leaf people, all we're going to do is put some glue onto a piece of paper and stick our leaf on like that. Now I think this could be a bit of body and one leg, because it looks like it's got a foot at the end. So what I'm going to do is put another bit of glue near it, oops, and stick on another little stick to be the other leg, like that. And I'm going to stick another twig going across here like that to make the arms. And I need a nice face now. I'm going to put some glue on the leaf. I'm going to stick 2 goggly eyes on top. And this is just a little bit of, I'll show you, it's off a leaf like this, just the little end bit there. And I thought that makes quite a nice little smiley red mouth. So I'll stick that on like that as well. And then this leaf person, I'm going to do the other way up. So I'm going to pop him that way up. And I'm going to give him some little twiggy legs, like that. Oops, not on stick, there we go. And some little twig arms. There's one there, and there's 2. And I need some eyeballs again. 1 eyeball, 2 eyeballs. And I found this little nut that has been nibbled by a squirrel. The squirrel's eaten everything inside. So I thought I might stick the nut on like a little nose. There we go. And then I've got another bit of leaf stalk as a smiley mouth. And there we go. They are my little leaf friends. This is how to make a nature walk bracelet. The first thing that you need to do is to get a piece of card that is maybe a couple of inches wide, and it needs to be long enough to go round your wrist like that, like a bracelet, or you could even make it big enough to go round your head and make it into a hat or a crown if you wanted to. You then need to get some tape and tape the ends together like this. And then what you're going to do is put on a piece of sellotape, now either double-sided sellotape all the way around, or ask for some help from a grown-up to put some normal sellotape on, sort of doubled over, so that the sticky stuff is on the outside of the bracelet. Now I've got normal tape here. I thought I'd show you how to do it with normal tape in case anyone wasn't sure. So the way to do it is to fold over the end a couple of times to make it sticky on both sides. Stick that onto your bracelet and then unroll it all the way around like this. Oops, it's a little bit fiddly, this. And then when you get back to the end, just go over the end of it and rip it off. And so I've now got sticky tape going all the way around the outside of my bracelet. And then what you do is you just pop it onto your arm or pop it on your head if you've made a hat, and go out for a lovely walk. It might be just going around your garden, it might be going down to a wood near you, or just going along the road near where you live. And every time that you see something exciting or interesting in nature, you can pick it up and you can stick it onto your bracelet. Now, I've already been for my walk because I couldn't work out how to film it and walk at the same time. So these are some things that I've collected just now on my lovely walk. So I'm going to pretend that I was doing this outside, and all you do is you go along. Look, I found a lovely beautiful autumn leaf, so I pop that on there. Then a bit later on, I found a feather. I'm going to stick my feather on my bracelet. And I found an oak tree with some lovely little oak leaves on them. I'm going to stick that on there. And you can see that you just go around. Here's some bark that I found that had come off a tree. These are all things that were already on the floor. I haven't had to pick any of them. Beautiful orange leaf there. And I did find a great big spiky nut case here. I don't know if that's going to stay on, but we'll give it a go. There we go. And I found a piece of ivy. Pop that on. And I found a little yellow flower. And I wonder if these will stick on. These are some tiny little fir cones. Let's stick those on there. And my last thing is some broken acorn shells. And so now I've got a lovely memory of all the beautiful things that I saw when I went on my walk. And I can wear it on my wrist like this. And when you look at it, it will remind you of the lovely time you had, and also remind you to thank God for all the good things and the beautiful things that we see in nature at this time of year. This is how to make a leaf decoration. I'm sure that you know that at this time of year there are really beautiful coloured leaves all on the trees and falling down from the trees onto the floor, and it can be really fun to go and collect some and to scuff through the leaves. Now if you collect lots of different colours and shapes of leaves like this, and you also collect a thin long twig like this one here, then you can make a really beautiful decoration. The twig that you choose is quite important. So you don't want one like this. This is far too knobbly. You see all those knobbles? That won't work. And it's quite tricky if your twig is quite thick, like this one. This is quite a thick one. You want to get one that is thin and long and doesn't have too many bobbly bits sticking out. And you'll find out why in a second. We're going to be using these leaves and this twig to do some sort of sewing with leaves. Now the first one I'm going to put on, I think I'll start with this one in the middle. Now this leaf has very handily already got holes in it. I think a little insect has been nibbling at it. I think I might use this one at the top here. So you can use holes in the leaves already, or you can just poke little holes through with your twig. This might take a little bit of practice. You might need a little bit of help from a grown-up because it's quite easy for the leaves to split. But when you've managed to get one onto your twig, you just very carefully move your twig over all the lumps and bumps, which is why it's good if you don't have too many of them on your leaf, on your twig. You move your leaf down to the other end like that. And then we put on the next leaf. I think I might go for a red one next. So I'm going to put through a hole there and back through the leaf from the back like that. And I'm going to see if I can get that leaf to go all the way down my twig. Come on leaf, over the bumps. There we go. So now I have two leaves sat next to each other like that. What colour should I go for next? What about a yellow one? Should we try yellow? Here's a nice one. Something's been having a good chomp out of it already at the side there. So I'm going to make some holes a bit lower down and poke them through. Oops, there we are. All the way along. So I've got 3 leaves on there now. Next, I think I might do a brown leaf. And there are lots of brown leaves at this time of year. Try and get one that isn't too crinkly, because really dry crinkly leaves, again, it's very difficult to make those ones work. They often fall apart. So now I've got green, red, yellow and brown. And I think I might just put one more on. Which one shall I use? I think I might go for this big green one here because it's quite an unusual shape. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, it's hiding 5 different sections to it. And I'm going to poke a hole through the middle of there, like that, and slide it on. And here's my, oops, nearly torn that one, there we go. Here's my finished design. And if I turn that round so it makes it easier for you to see. I'm not sure how it's best to get it on the screen, but you can see that I've got a lovely line of threaded leaves, and you could put that up in your window like that, and then the sunlight would come through the beautiful colours. What a nice way to be thankful to God for all the colours that we have at autumn time. Here is how to make a thankfulness tree. If you want to have a go at making a thankfulness tree, you're going to need just a few things. You'll need a piece of paper, a pair of scissors, a pen for writing with, a glue stick, a brown pen or some brown paper, and some coloured paper that you could use as leaves. The first thing I'm going to do is to draw a tree trunk. Now you could cut one out of brown paper if you wanted to, but I'm just going to draw a big tree trunk and then put some branches going off it like this. There we go, that's my tree trunk, and later on I might colour it in. And then what I'm going to do is get my pieces of paper, and I might fold it over so I can cut the leaves 2 at a time. I'm going to cut out some sort of squashed oval shapes or leafy shapes like that. So I'm going to do some big, some small, They all need to be big enough to write something on, so you don't want them to be absolutely tiny. I'm going to cut some out of this lime green colour. Okay, let's just fold that over. How many have I got here? Another 1, 2, 3, 4. And I thought I might put some orange leaves on my tree as well, because it is sort of autumn time. There we go. So here are all my little leaves. And I'm going to keep those leaves nice and safe. And then every day, maybe at tea time, or at breakfast time, if you want to do it that way around, you can take a leaf and you can think of something that you're thankful for. Something that, maybe something that you know that God has given you or helped you with. Maybe it's something you've seen that day. I'm going to say thank you for my friends, because I really enjoy spending time with my friends. So I've said friends. And then I'm going to stick it onto my thankfulness tree, like that. And then maybe another day I might want to say thank you for the sunshine, if it's been a really beautiful day. I'll stick that one onto my tree. And what else can we think of that we could say thank you for? I'm going to say thank you for the Bible. So the Bible is the book that God has given us that tells us all about Him and all about how much He loves every single one of us. So I'm really thankful that I can read my Bible. And you can see that very quickly your tree will get covered in things that you are thankful for. And maybe you can do this as a family. It can be something that you do with your mum or dad, or an adult that you live with, maybe a sister or brother or a friend, and see how many things you can think of to say thank you to God for.
Hello everyone, this is how to make a vegetable planter.
If you want to have a go at making your very own planting vegetable patch, these are the things you're going to need. You'll need scissors, a hole punch, some wool, some tape, some glue, a blue and a brown crayon or blue and brown paper, some bits of card that are the colour of vegetables and leaves, and a circle of card. I just drew round a plate to get that circle, and a semicircle of card, like that. Let's move these out of the way and I'll show you how we start making it. So the first thing to do is to take your circle and to colour at least the top half of it, maybe a bit more, with blue. That's going to be your blue sky. There we go, nice blue sky. And then I'm going to colour the bottom half brown. That's going to be the brown earth where the vegetables are planted. Now at this point you've got a choice. You can either make your vegetable bed by taking a piece of card, putting it on the side like that, and stapling or taping all around the edge, and that will give you a pocket to put the vegetables in. Or if you have a hole punch and some wool, then what you can do is go around the brown half of your page and hole punch little holes out, like this. So you can see, oops, that one hasn't come out. There you go, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll do one more, but just because it's easier if it's even. There we go, 12 holes around the edge. And then I'm going to get some brown wool. I've doubled it over. And I'm going to stick it on the back of my piece of paper, just with a little bit of tape. like that. And then I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to thread it in and out of the circles, and that will make a sort of net, if you like, to plant your vegetables in. Doing it this way can be quite fun, partly because the threading bit's fun, but also because when you're planting your vegetables, you can sort of weave them in and out of the soil, which is quite good to do. Oops, so I'll go in at the other side. You can do this bit however you want to. Don't pull it too tightly. I'll show you what happens. If you pull it really tight, then your page will go like that. You don't really want that. You want to keep it quite flat. Let's put another one through there. And across here. Now you can fill this in as much as you like. My suggestion would be that you go all the way across in straight lines first, and then you do some going crossways as well, because that will give you extra places to put your vegetables. I'll just show you what I mean. So I've gone pretty much to the bottom, but now I'm doing some that cross over each other like this. That will just give me extra places to put my vegetables in. And when you get to the end of your string, then you just tape it on the back again. And like I said, you can put as much wool on as you want. The more you put it on, the better, really, because the more fun it is to plant your vegetables. So there we go, that's the bottom of our vegetable patch, ready to go. Put this out of the way. So the next thing we're going to do is to make our vegetables. And here I've got a piece of orange. I wonder if you can guess what shaped vegetable I thought I'd do with the orange piece. Yeah, this is my son's favourite vegetable. We've got a carrot. So I've made a carrot shape there. And then I'll use this dark green, I think. And I'm just going to cut a funny wibbly shape for the top of the carrot. There we go. And you can glue or tape your top and your bottom together. So there we have it, there's our carrot. And I thought I might also do a beetroot, because we're growing some beetroot in our garden at the moment. So they're sort of big and round, a bit like that. There we go. And just make some leaves to go on top of there. Here we are. Let's stick our beetroot leaves on the top. Now you can make as many vegetables as you like. Maybe you could do some radishes or some potatoes, some sweet corn, anything that you plant in the soil and that sticks up out of the soil or grows underneath the ground. And then all you have to do is to plant your vegetables. So here we go, I'm going to pop my carrot in there like that.
This is how you make a decorative bird feeder. I'm going to show you how to make a decorative bird feeder. So I've got 4 different types of bird food here. You could make just one of these, or some of them, or all of them, depending on what you have. So this first one is an apple, which I've hollowed out the core, and I've then stuck in some pumpkin seeds. If you have any, you could do that too, or you could put in some other seeds, or just leave it as an apple. And I've attached 2 sticks together with some string and put the apple through the string so it can sit on the sticks, so the sticks can be perches for the birds. This one here is really simple. This is just a piece of string, and I've threaded onto the string some Cheerios. If you have garden wire, you could use that instead, perhaps make it into a different shape like a heart, but I've just used a string on this one. This one here is made with pine cones. So firstly I threaded a piece of string around the top of the pine cone and tied it. I tied 3 onto this one, and then I spread peanut butter onto the pine cone. You could also use lard, And then I rolled the peanut butter covered pine cone in birdseed to get the birdseed to stick to it. And this final one is just an apple cut into slices and rings and threaded on to make a long chain. So I can go and hang that up out in the garden. And when we're making these, we can remember that God provides for us, just as he does for the birds. This is how to do the flower picture using dried foods. To make your flower picture, you're going to need a pen or a pencil, some glue, a piece of card. If you don't have any card, don't worry, you can just use a piece of paper stuck to a piece of cardboard to make the paper stronger. And then some dried foods. So I have here some rice, some lentils, some pumpkin seeds, and some pasta. So I'm going to start by drawing a really big, simple picture of a flower. With a stem and a couple of small leaves. And then I'm going to glue one area at a time to colour in with the dried foods. So I'm going to start by doing the bit that I want to be white with the rice, the middle bit. So I'm going to pour on some rice and just press it down a bit to get it to stick, and then shake off the excess. And then I'll do the same with the petals. So I'm going to colour the petals in orange using the red lentils. And press them down. And again, just knock off the bits that you don't need. Then I'll do the stem. And then the leaves. And I'm going to put some pumpkin seeds on the leaves. So you could use anything you like for this. Any dried beans, anything to colour in the different shapes. And then at the top I'm going to write, God is the good gardener. And this craft can remind us that God loves and takes care of us, just like a good gardener loves and takes care of his garden. This is how to make the scarecrow and cress craft. To make the scarecrow and cress craft, you'll need the little pack that has been sent by the Messy Church team. If you didn't request one of these from Annie or someone at Messy Church, then don't worry, you can still do the craft. Probably the only thing that you won't have lying around to use is the cress seed, which you would need to get from a gardening centre or online. But the other bits, like the scarecrow, you could make your own. So in the pack there should be a cardboard scarecrow, a lollipop stick, the cress seed, and 2 tiny little eyes to stick onto the scarecrow. You will also need some sellotape, some blue tack or plasticine, some glue, colouring pencils, scissors, Pritt stick, water, kitchen roll or cotton wool, and a plate or a saucer. So the first thing I'm going to do is to colour in and cut out the scarecrow. So I've got one here, which I've already done. And we can see at the top, the scarecrow is holding a banner and it says, God makes things grow. Because isn't it amazing that God has made these cress seeds in just such a way that all we need to do is add a bit of water and they spring into life and grow cress. So once I've coloured that in and cut it out, I'm then going to stick it onto the lollipop stick using some sellotape. And stick on his eyes. These are quite small, so they're really fiddly. Just get these out from here. There's one, and the other one. There we go. So I'll just set that aside, and then we'll get the dish ready for the cress seed. So you can use cotton wool or kitchen roll. I'm just going to use kitchen roll. So I'll pop that on and add some water. You probably want to use more than just one piece because otherwise it tends to dry out very quickly. Let's add another couple of pieces on top. Make sure it's nice and wet. There we go. And then I'm going to add the seed. I'll just sprinkle this on. And then pat it down just to make sure it's definitely touching the kitchen roll, in good contact with the kitchen roll. And I'm going to take my lump of glue tack or plasticine just to hold the scarecrow up. And I'll add that there. I'll put the scarecrow in. And then I'll need to leave that for a few days and keep an eye on it and keep adding a bit of water each day to let it dry out. And then after a few days, it should look like this. So I hope you enjoy making and then eating this craft.
We hope you have had as much fun as we have joining in with our online Harvest Messy Church today. We would love to see any of the crafts that you have created at home. So if you would like to send us any pictures of what you have created during Messy Church, please send them either to our Facebook page or to this email address. We would love to have a look at them and we would love to share them on our Facebook page too and show everybody what you have done at home. Because we can't be in person, we'd love to see what you have done with your families at home. We've absolutely loved doing Messy Church with you this morning. Our next Messy Church, which is a Christmas one, is in December. But if you can't wait until then, we have loads of kids talks, of bedtime stories, toddler groups, all on our YouTube channel, which you are very welcome to join in with. Then until then, have a great rest of your weekend and we hope to see you soon. Bye.